Veterans Day for me is very special because we're talking about all the men and women who served in our armed forces at some point during their lifetime. And by serving in the armed forces, they gave of themselves in a very unselfish way. They believed in the U.S. Constitution, they believed in the U.S. flag, and they believed in the American way. And in doing so, they worked to protect the freedoms that our founding fathers put in place for all of us, for all citizens of the United States. And so in doing so, we're very, very grateful. I am very, very grateful for our veterans of the armed forces.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Logan, and I was in the Air Force in 1984 to 1990. 1990. I would have stayed in 20 years if I hadn't decided to have children. And the Gulf War came up and I decided I wanted to stay home with my children instead of go to war. So I got out, but I would have served in the war with that if I didn't have children. Veterans Day to me is a time to reflect and honor on those who served before us and who gave especially their lives for our country.
Hello, my name is Richard Thrash Jr., and I am a special education teacher as well as I work in ICR for math at Millbrook High School. Glad to be here. I was actually in the military for 3 years. I was a chef in the military and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't actually going to go in the military. I was going to actually go to college first, but I ended up deciding to go to the military. And I was stationed in Fort, I'm forgetting the name already. I know my basic training was Fort Jackson. I did my advanced training at Fort Lee, Virginia. And then I was in Washington State, because I can't even think of the name of the fort I was in, but I was in Washington State for 3 years. And that's not Washington, D.C., that's Washington State, okay? And I had a great time there. So I did the 3 years and then I got out. So Veterans Day to me means, one of them means freedom. Another word for me is opportunity. So the freedom for all those, it was so many people who have went through so much so that we can have freedom to be with our families, the freedom to go move about and do the different things we do. And it created so many opportunities for us, and not just only for us, but sometimes we forget about even the soldiers that was in. It created opportunities for them. When you look back in history, going all the way back to the days of slavery, it created an opportunity for them no longer to be bound or in slavery. So not only for the soldiers, but for those who didn't even join, it created opportunity and freedom for their families. So every time that we celebrate Veterans Day, I walk around and look at, we made opportunity and freedom, just not for just us, but for just all those who are part of this world. So that's what Veterans Day means to me.
My name is Paula Abbott. My father, Pello Duncan, was in the Air Force for 20 years. For the first 11 years, I think, he was trained as a medic, and then he changed to OSI, Office of Special Investigation. He was afraid he was going to be drafted by the Army for the Korean War, and he didn't want to join the Army, so he decided to join the Air Force. He retired in 1973. He really enjoyed his time in the military. He was grateful for the places he was able to go, the people he met. I'm grateful for the love of our country he instilled in me and in my brother and sister. So when I think about Veterans Day, I think of how my father valued our country, our freedoms, our resources that other countries do not have, and his willingness to do what was necessary to try to protect those freedoms for others in Vietnam, to try and slow down the advance of communism.